There is a plus-minus number sitting in the Minnesota Lynx record book right now that should make every executive in Dallas physically ill. Through her first 19 professional games, Olivia Miles posted the best plus-minus any player has ever recorded to open a career in this league. Not the best rookie mark, the best mark period. And Olivia Miles does not play for the Dallas Wings. She sat right there on the board on draft night, the best point guard prospect to enter this league in years, and the Dallas front office looked at her, thought about it, and said no thank you. Before we go one sentence further, hold on to this, because it is the part almost nobody has connected. The single most damning piece of evidence in this entire story is not a stat line at all. It is one short sentence Azzi Fudd herself said in a Dallas press conference back in May. A sentence that got almost no attention, and it tells you the Wings already understood what they had done. We are coming back to that at the end, and it might be the most uncomfortable thing in this whole video. If you enjoyed the stories the league would rather nobody said out loud, smash that like button and subscribe right now, because this one is going to make some people in Texas very unhappy. Let us set the scene properly. April 13th, 2026. The Shed at Hudson Yards in New York City. For the second straight year, the Dallas Wings owned the #1 overall pick. A piece of franchise luck almost no organization ever gets twice in a row. The year before, it was easy, it was obvious, it was Paige Bueckers, and she went on to win Rookie of the Year. This time, there was no consensus. Right up until the moment the commissioner walked to the podium, the #1 pick was a genuine mystery, and multiple national outlets had spent free agency talking themselves into one specific name for Dallas: Olivia Miles. And then Dallas took Azzi Fudd. Reunion complete. The UConn National Championship backcourt, back together, $500,000 a year for the top pick under the brand new collective bargaining agreement. A rookie salary that is roughly 7 times what Bueckers made as the #1 pick the year before. The room loved it. The internet loved the story Minnesota then took Olivia Miles at #2, and I promise you, somebody in the Lynx war room had to physically stop themselves from cheering into a live microphone. But that wasn't the whole story, because what Olivia Miles has done since then has quietly turned that pick into one of the most brutal front office misses in modern league history. Let me just lay out the receipts. Miles has been the engine of the best team in the entire league. The Lynx have been sitting at 28-7, top of the standings, and she is leading them in scoring and assists as a rookie point guard. She has been running around 20 points, close to 6 assists, and almost 5 rebounds a night, shooting the ball far better than the scouting report said she could. She has been named Rookie of the Month multiple times. She has been called the Runaway Rookie of the Year favorite since roughly the second week of the season. And here's the part that should genuinely frighten people. She has not just been in the Rookie of the Year conversation, she has been in the Most Valuable Player conversation, carrying that team through a long stretch while Napheesa Collier was out recovering from surgery on both ankles. Read that again. A rookie. Point guard. Best team in the league. Fringe MVP candidacy while the franchise superstar was in street clothes. The goggles, the nickname, the retro point guard swagger. She has become a personality, a highlight machine. Appointment television for a Minnesota franchise that has historically struggled to grab casual fans. That is exactly, precisely, word for word what a #1 overall pick is supposed to look like. And that is where this stops being a basketball debate and becomes a job security question. But hold on, because the next part is where most people get this story completely wrong. Here is the honest turn, and I am going to be fair, because this channel does not do lazy hit jobs. Azzi Fudd has not been a bust. Not even close. She has been good. She has been, at times, genuinely thrilling. She set a Dallas rookie 3-point record in a monster 24-point night against the New York Liberty. She dropped a career-high 26 on Seattle. She became the first rookie in league history to win the 3-point contest at All-Star Weekend, and she did it by drilling every single shot on the first rack of the final round, which is an absurd thing to watch a rookie do on that stage. Her defense has been better than advertised. Her off-ball movement with Bueckers has been legitimately beautiful basketball, and when Jessica Shepard is hitting them on cuts and handoffs, that Dallas offense looks like a real, modern, functioning team for the first time in years. The Wings went a combined 19-65 over the 2 seasons before this one. 19 wins in 2 years. By the middle of July, they were sitting at 16-8 with the 4th best record in the league. So no, this is not the pick was terrible. That is not the argument. The argument is far more damaging than that. The argument is this: Dallas used the rarest asset in professional sports on a player who improved them, when a player who would have transformed them was sitting on the same board. And the difference between improved and transformed is the difference between a front office getting extensions and a front office getting escorted out. But that wasn't even the wild part. Because roster construction is where this thing really falls apart. Watch what Dallas did in the weeks before the draft. They brought back veteran guard Arike Ogunbowale. They already had Paige Bueckers, the reigning Rookie of the Year, at guard. They added veteran free agents, and then, holding the number 1 pick, with a roster already stacked with people who need the ball and score off the catch, they drafted another shooting guard. A fifth-year college senior with a long, well-documented injury history at that. Meanwhile, the one thing every serious analyst said that team lacked was a true alpha primary point guard. And do not give me the, well, Paige can run point line. The single best thing about Paige Bueckers' game is that she does not need the ball. She is arguably the most devastating off-ball guard in the league. You do not solve a point guard problem by asking your best off-ball player to spend 40 minutes dribbling. You solve it by drafting the generational point guard who is literally standing in the room. And shooting? You can find shooting. Shooting is the most findable skill in basketball. Look around the league at guards who knock down open jumpers at an elite clip. Look at what Sophie Cunningham does in Indiana on a fraction of the usage. Tough, fearless, hits the shot, defends, and will physically stand between an opponent and her teammate without blinking. There are dozens of players in this league who give you 80% of the shooting for a fraction of the cost. There is exactly one Olivia Miles, and there is no wave of true point guards coming in the next few drafts to bail anybody out. Now here is where it gets ugly, because August happened. Fudd missed the Dallas home opener in May with a knee issue, then played 30 games in a row and looked like she had put the injury questions behind her. Then, on August 7th, she went through warm-ups, felt soreness in that right knee, and was ruled out minutes before tip-off against Golden State. She sat again 2 days later against Minnesota. She has been listed as questionable since, and it came in the middle of the worst possible stretch. 6 games in 12 days, 2 of them against top 3 teams, a team that had won just 2 of its previous 6. Dallas has slid to 19-14 while Minnesota keeps printing wins with the guard Dallas passed on. Nobody is blaming an athlete for a sore knee. That is not the story. The story is that a front office spent the most valuable pick in the sport on a player whose knees had already cost her large chunks of her college career, when the alternative is currently having one of the greatest rookie seasons anybody has ever seen. Risk assessment is literally the job. So why has almost nobody in this league said any of this out loud? Here is my honest take and pattern interrupt, because this is the part that almost nobody noticed. Because the story was too good. Because national champion teammates reunited in Dallas is a marketing dream. It sells jerseys, it fills College Park Center, it gets primetime slots on national television. Because the 2 players are genuinely close off the court, which made criticism of the decision feel like criticism of the people, and nobody in women's basketball media wanted that headache. And because Azzi Fudd was good enough, fast enough, to make the whole thing defensible. That is how a front office gets away with a decision like this. Not by being right, by being narratively bulletproof. And now the sentence I promised you at the top. Back in May, asked about her role while she was still coming off the bench in the early weeks of the season, Fudd said something that should have set off alarms across the league. It doesn't matter if I'm starting. Think about what that means. The number 1 overall pick, the $500,000 rookie, the face of the franchise's future, was being asked to be gracious about coming off the bench. And she was gracious, and she handled it like a total professional. She then started 17 straight games and earned every minute of it. But you do not draft a player first overall and then spend the opening weeks of her career deciding whether she starts. That happens when the fit was never clean in the first place. And everybody inside that building knew it. Fudd is not the villain here. She is the most sympathetic figure in the entire story. She has been asked to justify a decision she did not make, in a role she did not design, on a knee she cannot fully control. If anybody gets buried by this, it should be the decision-makers who put her in that position, not the 23-year-old shooting the lights out at All-Star Weekend. And that is where the career stakes land. Dallas has now spent 2 consecutive number 1 overall picks, 2. That is a once-in-a-generation windfall. And if this team goes out in the first round while Olivia Miles is collecting Rookie of the Year hardware, playing deep into the postseason in Minnesota and getting real MVP votes, the questions in that building stop being basketball questions and start being employment questions. Fans have already started asking them. Ownership eventually asks louder. Which brings us to right now, tonight, and the most delicious scheduling accident of the season. Dallas plays Indiana twice during this brutal August stretch, and Indiana is rolling. The Fever sit at 21-12, winners of 7 of their last 10, with Caitlin Clark putting up 22 points and 10 assists in a 106-92 demolition of the Liberty on August 11th, and Kelsey Mitchell absolutely on fire. Clark said it herself after that win. This August will show them what they are made of, and it is the kind of stretch that gets you ready for the playoffs. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham is out there doing what she always does, taking hits, standing up for teammates, and turning Gainbridge Fieldhouse into the loudest building in the league. That is what a franchise looks like when it drafts the right person at number 1 and builds around her. Dallas had that same chance. Twice. And the second time, they chose the story instead of the superstar. So, here is the question I want you arguing about in the comments. Is this the worst use of a number 1 overall pick in the last decade? Or does Azzi Fudd end up making everybody eat their words in 3 years? Drop your take below, hit that like button, and subscribe. Because when this thing finally explodes in Dallas, and it will, you are going to want to be here for it. One last thought to sit with. Everybody keeps framing this as Azzi versus Olivia, and it never was. It was Dallas versus common sense. They needed a point guard. There was a generational point guard on the board. They had just committed serious money to guards who score off the catch. And they drafted another one anyway. That is not a hot take. That is a paper trail. And the wildest part of all? Almost every publication in the country spent draft season telling them exactly what to do. And somehow Dallas has gotten away with ignoring it. Not for much longer.